Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
This is a prayer to Radharani with Krishna, and every day we sing Jai Radha Madhava. This is a prayer to Radha and Madhava, or otherwise you can take it, Radha Madhava means Madhava who belongs to Radharani. Radha's Madhava. So we'll sing that now. Jai Radha. The matter of today's lecture is Srimati Radharani. Now, lecture we're supposed to give according to what we've heard and according to what we've understood. In other words, according to our realization. Now, how far our realization goes, we're talking about Krishna. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How much can we understand? But of course, Krishna blesses us with some realization. Otherwise, how could we speak anything at all? Sometimes people say, God is so great, then you can't understand Him, therefore don't bother. Just forget God altogether. But Krishna blesses the devotee with some understanding so he can speak about Krishna's greatness. Otherwise we can't speak about Krishna's greatness at all. It's not possible. We're so small and He's so great. Now, how great is Srimati Radharani? And how much is our realization of her? There's another subject matter. Even Krishna is great, God is great, that is axiomatic. Otherwise there's no meaning to God. But this is the great secret of Gauriya Vaishnava philosophy, especially, that greater than God, there's something greater than God. There cannot be anything or anyone greater than God. Asam Urdhva. Asama Urdhva. No one is equal to, no one or nothing, no one or anything is equal to or greater than God. That is the meaning of God. But still, he is subdued by the love of Srimati Radharani. As Prabhupada explains, that love of God is greater than God, because love of God can control God. Sri Krishna Akarshani Chasa, that's stated, one of the qualities of pure devotion is, in the highest stage of pure devotion, Krishna is attracted by that devotion. And Krishna, under whom the whole not one universe, millions and billions of universes, they are under the control of Krishna. And Krishna is under the control of his devotees. Krishna says, Aham Bhakta Paradhina, I am under the control of my devotees. Naswatantra, I'm not independent. So particularly, Krishna is under the control of Srimati Radharani, because she is the greatest devotee. Greatest devotee means she has the greatest mode of service to Krishna. That her name is there, that is derived from the word Aradhana. Aradhana means worship. Worship means service. So because Srimati Radharani has the idea of service in the greatest degree, and because Krishna reciprocates with his devotees, Ye yata mang prapadyante tang tathaiva bhajamiham. Krishna reciprocates with everyone, not only the devotees, but especially he reciprocates personally with the devotees. So the devotees who give themselves to Krishna, Krishna also gives himself to them. And Radharani, she so much gives herself to Krishna that Krishna is controlled by that love. Therefore, Radharani is stronger than Krishna. It's not possible that anyone can be stronger than Krishna, but Krishna, out of his kindness, out of his nature, to be very loving to his devotees, he reciprocates that. As Radharani gives herself to Krishna, he gives himself in return. And because Radharani gives herself unlimitedly to Krishna, there's always competition, that Krishna is trying to give himself to her more. That competition is also there, that Krishna is very beautiful, Radharani is also beautiful. Who can say? We use the word beautiful, some word derived from some Anglo-Saxon Germanic source, and in your language, whatever source it is, some other word, beautiful. But that cannot properly describe. We say Krishna's name, Shamasundar, Kandarpako Dikamaniya Vishesha Shobham. Krishna's beauty is so attractive that it is attracting unlimited millions of cupids. And Radharani, she is also Gaur Sundari, Hem Sundari, golden form, beautiful. So we use the word beautiful, but there's nothing in our vocabulary, there's nothing in our imagination which can describe how beautiful is Krishna, how beautiful is Srimati Radharani. That many poets they have described, there are many beautiful songs and poems which are attempting to describe the beauty of Srimati Radharani. Still they cannot be said. That's why we say Krishna has lotus face, lotus eyes, lotus navel, lotus feet, everything lotus. Pundarika Nayana, his eye is just like a lotus. Or Ambujaksha, so many, just for lotus eyed. There are so many words for lotus and so many words for eyes. So just to say lotus eyed, in Sanskrit you can say maybe at least 50 or 60 ways. But still, you cannot, there's only a comparison, because the lotus is the most beautiful thing in this material world. Therefore Krishna is always compared to the lotus. Krishna, Radharani, any beautiful divine personality, they're compared to the lotus. So that cannot properly explain, but Radha and Krishna, they're both beautiful, and Radharani, she's always dressing herself very nicely to attract Krishna. Why? To give pleasure to Krishna, because Krishna takes pleasure in seeing her beauty. So also Krishna is dressing himself that he is pleasing to the whole creation. Therefore that competition is going on, who will be the more beautiful. And Prabhupada told that in the worship of Radha and Krishna in our temples, we should always dress Radharani more beautifully than Krishna. Then Krishna won't go away. He'll stay to find the beauty of Radharani. So anyway, how great is Radha, how great is Krishna? We can speak about these things. How little is our realization? It's very, very difficult to understand actually. And therefore, we see that Srila Prabhupada, even though it is accepted by all the Gauriya, is declared by all the Gauriya Vaishnava Acharyas, that actually this is the great secret of Gauriya Vaishnavism. Anarpita chirim chirat karunyavatirno kalo samarpiyata munatajvala rasa swabhakti shriyam. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he is Radha Krishna combined, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahayana. He came to give something which had not been given before, at least not for a very long time, not since he last came in the previous day of Lord Brahma. So what is that? Swabhakti Shriyam, the treasure or the auspicious treasure of devotion to himself. And who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahayana. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu especially came to teach the worship of Radha Krishna. Even that was going on. Even you'll find in the Nimbarka Sampradaya, they're also worshipping Radha Krishna. But especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach that Vipralambha Seva, service in separation. How Radharani and all the gopis, all the inhabitants of Vrindavan, they are serving Krishna in separation. Hey Radhe, Vrajadevi, Hey Chalalite, Hey Nandasuno Kata. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who are all maidservants of Srimati Radharani, who have come again to teach Krishna consciousness under the direction of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were spending their days running around in Vrindavan asking, Hey Radhe, Vrajadevi, Chalalite, Hey Nandasunu, Kuta, where are you? Radharani, Queen of Vrindavan, Lalita, Krishna, where are you all now? So this mode of separation was being taught. This is one very secret realization of the Gauriya Vaishnavas, that service to Krishna in separation is the highest service. So that is one point. And another point is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is to be worshipped. But even more worshipable, the topmost deity for the Gauriya Vaishnavas is Srimati Radharani. Not actually Krishna, Radha. So we may say, how is that possible? Because anyway, Radha, Krishna, they're together. There's no Radha without Krishna, no Krishna without Radha. Of course, Krishna is also worshipped. Kurukshetra, in Dwaraka, that's also Krishna. Actually, that's Vasudev form, expansion. The original form of Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, Krishna, Vrindavanam Parityajya Napadam Ekam Gacchati. He never goes outside Vrindavan. That means he's always with Radharani, always with the gopis. But when Krishna goes outside Vrindavan, then that is the Vasudev form, that is the expansion of Krishna. Of course, he's also not different. It's not that Kurukshetra Krishna, Dwaraka Krishna, Vrindavan Krishna, they are different. But at the same time, they are somewhat different. So that original, how to understand this, that requires, that's what I'm saying. Excuse me. That realization is required. That realization, that may come after many, many millions of births. Even to understand Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ahunam janmanamante jnanavang mang prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. Just to understand that Krishna is the cause of all causes, that may take many, many millions of births. So to understand how Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, expands himself in Vasudeva forms, and the original form is living in Vrindavan with Radharani and all the gopis, it's not very easy to understand. It's certainly not understandable simply by reading books, that's for sure. Now we see it has become a popular pastime for some of our devotees to read many, many books. These are called Rasa Shastras, in which the very intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna are delineated. So that is very nice, but we cannot understand Radha and Krishna by this process, simply by reading. If it was so easy, then any fool rascal scholar, and these fool rascal scholars, they read these books and they make some comment, but it's all useless because they have no realization. So how to understand Radha and Krishna, that is described by Narottam Das Thakur, who is one of the very greatest devotees of Sri Sri Radha Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In his Prarthana, he has described what is his own position. Generally the Vaishnavas, they don't do, but he has described, he's saying, Kabe Lokanath More Shangi Loya Jabe Shri Rupa Pada Padme More Shamarpide. He's saying that, when will the day come that my spiritual master, Lokanath Goswami, we sing every day, Ha Ha, Prabhu, what is that? Lokanath Loke Rajivan. So this is a song that Narottam Das has sung to his spiritual master, Lokanath Goswami. So he's saying, when will Lokanath Goswami bring me to the lotus feet of Rupa Manjari, the intimate maidservant of Srimati Radharani, and offer me in her service? So Narottam Das has described some of the intimate feelings, his own intimate feelings, of a devotee who is an intimate servant of Srimati Radharani. So he has described the process of understanding Srimati Radha. How to understand Radha Krishna. Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna Yugala Vikriti, what is that? Radha Krishna Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupa. That feelings of Srimati Radharani, that can be understood only by the followers of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what is that process? Gauranga balite habe pulaka sharia hari hari balite nayane babeniya. When one is chanting the names of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. When chanting those names, Gauranga balite habe, there will be pulak, there will be standing of the hairs on end. And when by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, tears will flow from the eyes, not artificially. This is not wanted. Artificial, we don't want anything artificial. We've rejected this material world as simply artificial. This loving affairs of the material world, man, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, this is all artificial. Of course, in the Grihastha ashram and Krishna consciousness, man and wife live together, but they are not cultivating the illusion that simply man and wife will live together happily forever. They're cultivating Krishna consciousness. So we've left the artificial situation of this material world, therefore we're not interested in artificial shows of ecstasy. This is definitely not wanted. But Narottam Das is saying, when will that actually happen? That when chanting the names of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which means, O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your service, that tears will automatically come from the eyes. Then, Ar kobe nitai chade karuna hoibe samsara bashana mo kobe tucha hobe. This is the point. Not that we're crying and then we're smoking, that we see. In Bengal there are some cheaters, not some, many, who they'll be crying, chanting Hare Krishna, and afterwards smoking. So that is not bona fide. That means bogus tears. So ar kabe nitai chade karuna hoibe samsara bashanam. No, before that, Bishoy Chariya Kabe, Shuddha Habe. No, this comes from Ar Kabe Nita. When I get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, that also Narottam Das in another song says that Nitaya Karuna Habe Braje Radha Krishna Pabe. When we get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, then we can attain to Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. And Nityananda Prabhu, how can we get his mercy? That, of course, the spiritual master is the representative of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who was ordered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to do what? Hai Shuno Shuno Nityananda Shuno Haridas Savatra Amar Agga Karaha Prakash Prati Ghare Ghare Giya Karo Ei Bhikha Bhaja Krishna Bolo Krishna Karo Krishna Shikha. Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas were called by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda, Haridas, you're my very dear servants. So you please do what I tell you, that is, go door to door and simply beg everybody that you please chant Hare Krishna, worship Krishna, study about Krishna. So Nityananda Prabhu has a mission from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is to preach. Especially Nityananda Prabhu had to preach Jai Shri Shri Gaura Nitai. Nityananda Prabhu had to preach in a very difficult situation in Bengal. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, he was saying he's God, but he's taking the position of a devotee, that even I can't preach in Bengal, it's too difficult for me, you better go. So Nityananda Prabhu was doing that. So anyone who preaches the message of Krishna in a very difficult place, by taking books door to door, speaking to people about Krishna, instructing them in the science of Krishna, they are in the line of mercy, coming down in parampara from Nityananda Prabhu. So by his mercy, by engaging in this preaching mission, we will get the mercy of our Guru, who will offer that mercy up to Nityananda Prabhu. Then Rajay Radha Krishna Pabe. Nitaya Karuna Habe Rajay Radha Krishna Pabe. If we get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, then we can get the mercy of Radha Krishna. This is the process. We have to understand Radha Krishna through Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not artificially, through Nityananda Prabhu. That means, what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu's mission? That is Radha Krishna Bol Bol Bolo Re Shabai. A Shikha Diya, Shabna Diya, Firite Nechi Gornita. Here's Gornita. Their business is dancing. Round and round. All around. They're going here and there and asking everybody, please join in this chanting of Radha Krishna, Hare Krishna. So this Sankirtan movement, this is the process to get the mercy of Radha Krishna. Not that I will go to Vrindavan and I will wear a cloth above my knees and smoke bidis and call myself a Babaji, and in this way I will understand Radha Krishna. It's not the process. You can do that millions of lifetimes. Of course, usually these Babaji, bidi smoking Babajis, they don't get millions of lifetimes chance, because next lifetime they become a hog or a dog in Vrindavan. And because Vrindavan Dham is very merciful, they may be delivered also. But this is not the proper process to understand Krishna, Radha Krishna. Proper process is to engage in the Sankirtan movement, get the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Then, by the mercy of Lord Nityananda, what will happen? Nitayak Ar Kabe Nitai Chande Karuna Haibe. Narottam Das is praying, when will I get the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu? And what will be the result of that? Samsara Bhashanamo Kavi Tucha Habe. Then my material desires will become very insignificant. At the moment, our material desires are very significant. Everyone is asking how to control the mind, how to control the senses, how to overcome these bad desires. Because we want to be Krishna conscious. We've come here for that. But we have a burden on the heart, which is these material desires, nasty material desires, which stop our spiritual advancement, which make it slow and difficult. How to get rid of those material desires? When we get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, then very easily those material desires may be crossed over. Samsara Bhashanamo Kabi Tucha Habe. Then he sings, Bishoy Chariya Kabi Shuddha Habe Man, Tabe Hama Herabo Sri Vrindavan. We can see Vrindavan. We want to see Vrindavan. But we won't see Vrindavan simply by buying a plane ticket to Delhi then getting a taxi or a train or whatever to Mathura, Vrindavan. That we should go also. If we get the chance, certainly we should go to Mayapur first and then Vrindavan and see what is Vrindavan Dham. With these eyes we will see, we will breathe the air in Vrindavan, that's also transcendental. We will visit the temples. The whole atmosphere is very nice in Vrindavan. Everyone is always chanting Jai Radhe, Hare Krishna. So that atmosphere is very purifying and that is very inspiring. But really to see Vrindavan, then we have to become free from material desires. Otherwise we may see hogs and dogs and pigs and beggars and we may think, what is this? This is not very spiritual. But we can actually see Vrindavan when our heart is freed from material desires. So that means getting the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, then we can become free from all material desires. Then we can see Vrindavan. Then the next stage comes, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bhujbo She Jugal Piriti. So this is the point, Jugal Piriti, Radha Krishna Prem, the exchange of love between Radha Krishna. That is called Jugal Piriti. This Jugal means the combination, Jugal Kishore, Radha Krishna. They're combined together. Jugal Murti. So, how to understand that? When one's heart is completely free from all material desires, then one may go to Vrindavan and read the books of the Goswamis. When one is very much purified, he can do this. Of course, he may also not. He may also go on preaching Krishna consciousness all over the world, and by doing that, he will also, then he can understand Radharani. That, by this preaching method again, even if we don't live in Vrindavan, because how many devotees can live in Vrindavan? Actually, Prabhupada said, Krishna Balaram Nandiya, he wanted 20 devotees to live there. And the rest, they can come and visit for a few days and go and preach all over the world. So does this mean that Prabhupada is denying his disciples the treasure of Vrindavan? No. That means he's giving it to them. He's giving it to them how? That is explained by Prabodhananda Saraswati, who is a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He describes how we can get the mercy of Srimati Radharani by the mercy of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he has described in his Chaitanya Chandramrita, one very nice collection of prayers to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, prayers and verses of glorification. So he says, Yata yata gaura padara vinde vindeta bhaktim krita punya rashi tata tatot sarpati hridya kasmat radhapadom veja sukhambu rashi. He says that Yata yata gaura padara vinde vindeta bhaktim, when that feeling of devotion, that mood of service to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arises within the heart, then automatically the flood of nectar of devotion to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani will overwhelm us. That will come automatically. So this preaching all over the world, Krishna consciousness, if we engage ourselves in that, then the results will be all auspicious. Param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. All auspicious means that all auspicious, the first thing all auspiciousness is Cheto Darpanamarjanam. All the dirty things will be cleansed from the heart, and there will be different stages we'll go through, and we'll come to the stage of Pratipadam Purnamritasvadanam. At every step tasting the nectar. What is that nectar? Radhapadam Veja. Radhapadam Veja Sukhambu. This nectar of the lotus, understanding the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, serving them. This is our goal, to understand Radha Krishna. This is our goal. And that will come by engagement in the Sankirtan movement. That is guaranteed. It is only a matter of time. If we are sincere, then gradually, all these wonderful things will be revealed to us one by one. It may not take place in one day. It won't. It may not take place in 1 year. It won't. It will take some time, no doubt. But not very much time. Not very, in a short time, we can make so much progress in Krishna consciousness and come to the stage, Brahmara Durlabha Prem. This love of Krishna which is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. That is very difficult to attain even by great demigods, even by Lord Brahma himself. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Anarpita Chirim Chirat. He's giving something which was not given for such a long, long time. Now he's giving very freely. Take it. That love of Krishna at the highest level, which could hardly be understood. Even great acharyas in the line, other lines we were talking yesterday, Ramanuja line, Madhva line, Nimbarka line, Vishnu Swami line, they are great acharyas. They are great Vaishnavas. They are great preachers. We worship their lotus feet. But this, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Mahavadanya Avatar. Rupa Goswami, he detected what is the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He prayed to him, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gortushina. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving very liberally, very easily, that love of Krishna which is not available such a high level. He's giving very freely. And who to? To the least qualified candidates. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most munificent incarnation of God. Now, Srimati Radharani's position has been described in Chaitanya Charitamrita in somewhat technical language. There's explained that she is the personification of the Hladini Shakti. Hladini, Ahlad, just like we say the name. Prahalad, that means full of pleasure. So Hladini Shakti means the energy, for want of a better word, the potency which gives pleasure to Krishna. So all the living entities, they are meant for the pleasure of Krishna. And the whole expansion, everyone and everything is meant for the pleasure of Krishna. And in Vrindavan, everything and everyone, they're all simply cooperating together for the pleasure of Krishna. Which also, if we cooperate in our temples, and our only goal is how to please Krishna, we will have Vrindavan here. We don't then, town president can save money on plane tickets. You can all have that, actually Vrindavan. Vrindavan, if you go and you find, I don't like to say, but you'll find even in the different temples, there may be so much politics, the different fighting over land and so many things. So that you won't find that who is fighting in the name, this temple is mine, it's mine, and make a case. That's not Vrindavan. But here, if we're all cooperating together nicely in the Sankirtan movement, that is Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, that is the proper situation. The material world is improper situation because everyone is working for their own sense gratification. And even in the material world there is some cooperation, but it's simply people are cooperating for their own mutual sense gratification. So in Vrindavan, everyone, all living beings, they are cooperating for Krishna's pleasure. That is going under the Hladini Shakti, which means the pleasure-giving potency. And the embodiment of that means every atom of Srimati Radharani's being is simply thinking 24 hours a day, intensely, how Krishna will be pleased. And everything she does, of course, every pure devotee, but especially this is in the intensest degree manifest in Srimati Radharani, that she is simply thinking how to give pleasure to Krishna. And all the other devotees, they are very much respectful to Srimati Radharani because she has this mood, and because they know that Krishna is enchanted by such a mood. Therefore they all cooperate, and there are so many wonderful pastimes which are for the pleasure of Krishna. Actually, Krishna, he likes to see his devotees satisfied. So all the devotees, they cooperate for the satisfaction of Radha and Krishna. In Vrindavan, Krishna is the king and Srimati Radharani is the queen. Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. And actually, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, she is the controller of Vrindavan, the queen of Vrindavan. And actually, we don't hear Krishna's name, Vrindavanesha, that he's the controller of Vrindavan, because, as we're saying, that Radharani, she is controlling. She controls. Just like at home, the man is officially the head of the family, but the wife is controlling everything. So in the same, that is coming from the original, that Krishna, he's the supreme controller, but he lets he lets Radharani control, because she knows how to manage everything better for his pleasure. Why the man lets the wife control everything in the home? Let her, because she's organizing. Bring the food, send the children to school, all these things. So let her organize, she knows what she's doing, she knows how to do it better. And ultimately the man is satisfied because he gets everything that he needs also. When he comes, he gets his meal, and he gets his newspaper, and whatever he wants. So it's a cooperation. He lets her control, but she uses that control to serve the husband and satisfy him. Of course, we're talking about ideal family life. That we may not find very much in the modern age. But anyway, same thing. In Vrindavan, Krishna, he lets Radharani control because he knows that she will do everything simply for my pleasure. But because it's going on in a very intimate way, extremely intimate way, in the pastimes of Vrindavan, there is no such consciousness that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone is thinking, Krishna, he's the son of Mother Yashoda, son of Nanda Maharaj. He's the lover of Radharani. So in this way they're thinking, well, he's one of us. Nanda Maharaj is king of Vrindavan, but after all, he's cowherd king. He's not a big king. Like the big king is Kamsa Maharaj over in Mathura. He's head of the cowherds. We're also coming from cowherd families. So Krishna's our friend. He's our friend. And so they're fighting, and sometimes Krishna is defeated. He carries the cowherd boys on his shoulders. And in this way, very, very intimate relationship is going on. So sometimes, that's why we're not supposed to hear these leelas, not just concentrate on this, because we may misunderstand. The intimacy, that is an intimacy of loving relationship. But it becomes so intimate that sometimes we may think it's just like us. We have our friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, and we are having our own little pastimes, and we may misunderstand that Krishna is like that. No. Therefore we have to study Srimad Bhagavatam, first 9 cantos, after studying Bhagavad Gita as it is. You have to understand very, very carefully. Then we can begin to understand Krishna in the 10th canto. And even in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, Radharani is not directly mentioned. She's definitely there. Just in the Ras Leela we see Krishna goes away with one gopi. That is Radharani. And we also have, when Uddhava visited Vrindavan, there's that very famous section, the Brahmar Gita, wherein Srimati Radharani is speaking to a bumblebee in her madness. So Radharani is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Her name was not mentioned by Shukadeva Goswami. Different acharyas have given different ideas. Why? One reason is because out of great respect, he didn't even want to say her name. That is, in Vedic culture, any woman, her name will not be said directly. Out of respect, she will be referred to, just in Chaitanya Charitamrita we see that Paramananda Modak, his wife, he referred to her, speaking to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mukundar Mata, his eldest son's name, Mukunda, she is the mother of Mukunda. That way they refer. So that is one theory, out of respect. Another theory means what the acharyas say, that is correct, not simply speculation. Then another thing, because he knew Parikshit Maharaj only had 7 days to live, and he wanted to speak the whole Bhagavatam to him before he passed away. Therefore he was afraid that if he says the name Radha, then he'll go into ecstasy, and then so much time will be gone, and in the meantime the snake bird will come, and Parikshit Maharaj will leave before the Bhagavatam is finished. So Shukadeva Goswami did not mention the name of Radharani when speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. Her name is mentioned in different Puranas, just like in Brahma Vaivarta Purana, how in the spiritual world Radha is with Krishna, that is described. Other Puranas described. And especially the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, especially Rupa Goswami, Rasacharya, he has delineated the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in so many books. Raghunath Das Goswami also. And later on, other acharyas, especially Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they have described the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Now we may say, well, what is that? They're writing something, it may be just imagination. It's not imagination. Of course, anyone can write something out of imagination. But these acharyas, they are intimate associates of Radha and Krishna. They are just, Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari. He's always seeing the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, the intimate pastimes. The Manjaris, their eternal forms is that of young girls, very young. So they go and they can go and see what intimate things Radha and Krishna are doing, because there's no bar for them, because they're very young. So there is very intimate. They can see. Then when they come to this world, they also write something. Even that's only some indication. Everything they won't write. How the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, they're going on eternally and wonderfully. So some pastimes they're writing, just to give us some little idea what are the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So those who are spiritually advanced, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti Tabe Hama Bhujvo Shri Jugal Kiriti. Those who are spiritually advanced, they can read the books of the Goswamis and they can understand this Jugal Piriti. What are the intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna? They can take pleasure in that. Narottama Dasa Koi Nitta Lila Shukamoy Shadash Varukamoramane. Narottam Das is praying that the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, they are full of transcendental happiness. So he's praying that may they always be manifested in my heart. So these 6 Goswamis, they have, and other great devotees, they have given descriptions of the intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna to give some information and some taste to those who are actually so much advanced that they can understand these things. Of course, there may be very few people who are actually advanced enough to understand, and unfortunately those who do not understand, those who do not have the qualification to study these books, which means first thing, one should be completely free of all mundane lusty desires. Otherwise, if he reads these very intimate pastimes, he may mistake them as being some lusty pastimes, just like I'm doing. I can also do some lusty pastimes. Of course, we don't find in pastimes of Radha Krishna that there is some union and then abortion and all these things, which these imitators, they're having some horrible imitation, very sinful. That pastime of Radha and Krishna, that is Shuddha Ati Shuddha, Vishuddha, is completely pure to a standard that we cannot understand in our contaminated state. Therefore, as long as we are contaminated, we should be very, very cautious about approaching these very highly elevated scriptures. But those who are very purified, they can read. One time, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because he was being trained by his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for publishing Vaishnava literature. At that time, the Brihat Mridanga, the printing press, was just becoming prominent in human society, especially in India for the first time. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur saw the opportunity that now we should print many, many books about Krishna consciousness. So many books which were very few in number or practically known to very few people, he found manuscripts and got them typeset and printed them. And many of them he gave commentaries, or he gave, if they were in Sanskrit, he gave translations in Bengali also. And from a very young age he engaged Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in this work. And Saraswati Thakur, Bimala Prasad, his name at that time, or Siddhanta Saraswati, he was on the order of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, was finding out different books for printing. So one time he asked Bhaktivinoda Thakur that Geet Govinda, the very famous book of Srila Jayadev Goswami, can we print this book? This is a very important book of the Gauriya Vaishnavas. This is one of the books which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was personally relishing. So this reply was given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur: yes, you print that book, you can print 2 copies. One you keep for yourself, because I accept that you're advanced devotee. Of course he's an advanced devotee. He's also Manjari, Nayana Manjari, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So you keep one copy for yourself and another copy you keep in the library, that in future there may be someone else who's advanced enough to understand. So how much cautious we should be in studying these books. Then we may say, then what is our connection at all with Srimati Radharani? Are we bereft of her mercy? No, we're not bereft of her mercy. Srimati Radharani has come to bestow her mercy on us. She has come as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Krishna, but with the mood and bodily complexion of Srimati Radharani. Radha Krishna, Pranaya Vikriti Radha Bhavadyuti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna. Krishna, this form with the bodily complexion and the feelings of Srimati Radharani. So the feelings of Srimati Radharani are that let everyone serve Krishna. Therefore, if we approach Srimati Radharani, Prabhupada has recommended this process in the Nectar of Devotion, that we should pray to Krishna. So praying to Krishna means invoking His mercy. So Krishna's mercy is, or Krishna's compassion, is personified as Srimati Radharani. Therefore we should approach Srimati Radharani and pray to her. Krishna is always listening to you. You have Krishna under your control. So therefore you please be kind to me and you offer me to Krishna. You please put in a word for me to Krishna. So if Radharani says to Krishna, then Krishna cannot refuse. And Radharani is very kind. She is the womanly. She is the representation of the female nature of the Lord. So the male side, that means powerful, dominating, and the female nature, I'm not talking about this material world, although that is a reflection of the original male and female nature. So the female nature, Radharani, is also God, but she is the female form. She is the predominated form, Purusha Prakriti. She is the predominated moiety, as Bhakti Saraswati Thakur used this very high language. So her nature is very kind. So it's very much easier to satisfy Srimati Radharani more than Krishna. So if we bring a flower to Srimati Radharani, bring her some offering, give her our prayers, give her our heart, then she will be very kind to us, and very pleasingly she will say to Krishna, please accept this devotee. So we should approach Srimati Radharani, pray to her, please accept me. Now we see that Prabhupada, he told that we should worship Radha Krishna deities in the mood of Lakshmi Narayana, great awe and reverence. So we should not artificially try to understand what are the very free and easy dealings of Radha with Krishna. We shouldn't think of the deities that we can treat them in a very casual way. For us that will be an offense. If Radharani calls Krishna bad names, that is great pleasure to Krishna. If we do it, we'll go to hell. Right, we're not in a position to do that. So we should approach Radha Krishna not in a casual way, not in a way like the Sahajiyas. They want to take everything very easily, but with great awe and reverence, thinking that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He controls everything, but Srimati Radharani controls Krishna. So how great is Radharani? Let us fall down at her lotus feet and worship her. So especially on this day, we should pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani. There are some prayers. This is a songbook published by a Bengali BBT with many of the prayers in Bengali and Sanskrit by our different acharyas. Now there's a very nice prayer to Srimati Radharani by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, I believe so, which I'm trying to find. Shri Shri Radhikashtakam, yes. This is in Sanskrit. Shri Shri Radhikashtakam. There are different there are different prayers by different acharyas. This is one by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. I'm going to read it. Now it's translated in Bengali, and but the Bengali is also with many difficult Sanskrit words, so I'll do my best to translate this. It's very beautiful. Tankamakta Kanchanabja Garbahari Gaurabha Pita Nanchitabja Gandha Kirti Nindi Saurabha Vallavesha Sunu Sarava Vanchitartha Sadhika Mahatmya Na Pada Padma Dasya Dastu Radhika. It's a very beautiful sound. That's Sanskrit language. The prayers are made very nice. Even the sound is very beautiful, even if we don't understand it. So the translation is that she whose body is golden color, and she has this kunkum, this red mark. Kunkum Parivrata Shana Padmapadmaya Gora Kante Garvanash Kare. Yes, it's very poetic language. That her golden form, it destroys the pride of a golden lotus. The scent of her body, which is mixed with the scent of kunkum, it blasphemes. It blasphemes, actually. The scent of a lotus. The scent of the lotus is very famous and glorified in the world, but the smell of Srimati Radharani's body simply throws it in the dustbin. The fame at her glorious lotus feet. Kara Vinda Kanti Ninda Chitra Patta Shatika Krishna Matta Bringa Keli Fulla Pushpa Bhatika Krishna Nitta Sangha Martha Padma Bandhu Radhika Mahatmyatma Pada Padma Dasya Dastu Radhika. Oh, her silk sari, Chitra Jukta, means it's with different designs. Now the luster which is coming from that defeats the luster of coral. Shri Krishna Krishna's form, which is like a maddened bumblebee. This example is often given. A maddened bumblebee means bumblebee who is intoxicated by taking so much nectar from the lotus that it simply flies here and there, doesn't know what it's doing. So Krishna's form is engaged in such pastimes. Krishna's pastimes are sometimes like that madness. Ashvabhana Sharupa. So she is, in the pastimes of Krishna, she is like a happiness-giving forest flower. See, it's very poetical language. Actually, in English or our language is not meant for this kind of thing. It's just meant for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and intoxication. What is the price of this? What is the price of that? This is what these languages are. And these languages, Sanskrit, Bengali, they're meant for philosophy and poetry praising the Supreme Lord. So anyway, it's a little difficult to put it over. And she always, to get the association of Krishna, she goes for daily worship of the sun. Maybe you know that story. That of course, in the Leela of Radha and Krishna, Radha is supposed to be married to Abhimanyu. So Jatila Kutila, who are the guardians, the sister-in-law and mother-in-law of Radharani, they're always trying to stop Radharani going to see Krishna. And they're always watching very carefully, keeping a strict guard. So they had some idea that Radha and Krishna made some plan that Krishna would become the pujari in the temple to the sun, and Radharani, she expressed in it a desire that I want to worship the sun. So Jotila and Kutila are thinking this is very nice, this is a very good thing for her to do, better than playing with Krishna. So they used to send her, alright, you can go every day and worship the sun. But unfortunately for Jotila and Kutila, the pujari in the sun temple was Krishna. So in this way they were cheating. And Krishna every day was meeting Radharani in the name of the very pious activity of worshipping the sun. Anyway, Shri Shri Radhika Amar Keta Ashipada Hodde Dashadan Kuru. So that Srimati Radharani, I am offering myself at her lotus feet in service. So Kumarya Srishta Pallavali Kirti Nigraha Chandra Chandra Nota Palendu Sevya Shita Vigraha Svabhi Marsha Vallabhisha Kamatapa Badhika Mahatmya Pada Padma Dasya Dastu Radhika. So Marata Kirti Keo Apamanita Kore. So Srimati Radharani's youth, it is compared to the bud of a flower. It's just bud is about to open up into something very beautiful flower. So her youthfulness that insults the youthfulness of everybody else in the creation. Jini Chandra Parada who is she has this sandalwood paste which is mixed with camphor, and there's also mixed with this Padda or Chandra. She is worshipped. I can't understand this exactly. I think it's worshipped by the lotus and by the moon. Krishna, he is burning in the fire of separation from Srimati Radharani. So when Srimati Radharani offers herself to him and Krishna embraces her, then he cools the burning fire of Krishna's separation. That Srimati Radharani, I offer myself in service at her lotus feet. Vishvabandhya Jovatabi Vanditapi Dharama Rupa Navya Yovanadi Sampadana Yatsama Shila Harada Leelaya Chasa Yatosti Nadika Mahatmya Mapada Padma Dasya Dastu Radhika. Lakshmi Devi is prayed to by the whole world. Everyone is praying to her. Especially the young girls, they pray to Lakshmi. Even though she has so many qualities, Lakshmi, like beauty, all the nice characteristics of youth. Although she has a very good character, despite all these things, she is not equal to Srimati Radharani. And within this and there's no one in the whole universe, even Lakshmi, who is equal to Srimati Radharani in her qualities. Even though Lakshmi is full of so many good qualities, she cannot compare to Srimati Radharani. Therefore, I offer myself in service at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Rasa Lasya Gita Narama Sat Kalali Pindita Prema Ramya Rupa Vesha Sadgunali Mandita Vishvanavya Gopa Yoshid Alitopi Yodhika Mahatma Pada Padma Dasya Dastu Radhika, who in the Rasa Leela dances, sings and performs pastimes Sadvidya Samuhe, who is very expert in all these things, who has a form which is very pleasing to Lord Krishna, enjoyable by Lord Krishna, who is decorated not only by her dress, her very pleasing dress, but also by her wonderful qualities. She is decorated. She is understood to be auspicious by all these things. Who is the best among all the gopis, who are all wonderful. They're all wonderful, but Srimati Radharani is the best. Therefore, that Srimati Radharani, I offer myself in service at her lotus feet. Nitya Nava Rupa Keli Krishna Bhava Sampada Krishna Raga Bandha Gopa Yogateshu Kampada Krishna Rupa Vesha Keli Lagna Sat Samadhika Mahatma Pada Padma Dasya Dastu Radhika, whose form is always fresh and new looking, who in loving pastimes with Krishna and in who presenting her form to Krishna, or another translation is given, another way this can be understood, who is the very form of Krishna's feelings, who through these different opulences she makes Krishna attached to her, who among the gopis, her own party, because there's Chandrabali's party also, so there's her own party. Chandrabali's party is another party of gopis who are against to Krishna. Pardon, Harsha Janito, or Vipokki or Gone, who to her own group, Radharani's group, she gives great pleasure, and to the opposite party, Chandrabali's party, she gives lamentation, because Chandrabali, that competition is there. That means Chandrabali is also a great devotee of Krishna, but to enhance the Leela, she's a rival of Radharani, so she's also trying to attract Krishna, but Radharani is much more attractive to Krishna than Chandrabali. So, but sometimes Krishna goes to Chandrabali just to make Radharani angry. These are all very intimate pastimes, and then Radharani manifests her anger on Krishna, and then Krishna has to come and massage her lotus feet and all these different things to appease her anger. So Radharani gives pleasure to her own group and makes the other group lament that, we're trying so hard to promote Chandrabali, but Krishna is not interested. So everything, her dress, her activities, everything, she is simply thinking how to please Krishna. That Srimati Radharani, I offer myself to her in service at her lotus feet. Sveda Kampa Kanta Kashru Gadgadadi Sanchita Marsha Harsha Vamatadi Bhava Bhushananchita Krishna Netra Toshi Ratna Mandanali Datika Mahatma Pada Padma Dasya Dastu Radhika. So these are some of the symptoms of Srimati Radharani's ecstasy of love for Krishna. Perspiration, trembling, bodily hair standing on end, tears flowing from the eyes, voice faltering. These are called the Ashtashatvik Bhavs. So she is always decorated with these, and by anger, jubilation, by Vamya Bhav. This is a technical term. It's described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are different kinds of lovers. So the left-wing gopis, they are the type. They're the most intimate with Krishna, and Radharani, she's the leader of what are called the left-wing gopis. There are different kinds of lovers who are described. It's a very elevated subject matter, and anyway, it's Radhastami, we can just discuss a little bit. There are some kinds of lovers who, if they're displeased with their lover, it means that the woman displeased with her lover, she doesn't show it. She doesn't make a big show. The lover comes, she simply accepts. And there are different types, but the left wing, those who are completely extremist devotees, it means they're at the top level of love for Krishna, that even a little something, they'll get upset with Krishna. And they'll call him bad names, and they'll become angry with him, they'll joke with him, they'll use sarcastic words. So Radharani is the leader and this gives Krishna the greatest pleasure, because everyone in the creation, oh God, you are great. One who crosses beyond that is, we're not going to artificially do it. We're not artificially, but one who's actually, his love for Krishna thickens and increases to such an extent that he feels so intimate with Krishna that he can call Krishna bad names. Everyone wants to go to Krishna, but the gopis, sometimes they say to Krishna, don't come here. We're fed up of you. You are always going here and there with Chandravali. We don't want to see you. Your silly tricks, stealing up. You're always taking away Radharani's yogurt when she's walking on the street. You don't know how to behave. You're supposed to be a king's son. You're behaving like this. So in this way they reject. Then Krishna has to come and, like I was saying, massage Radharani's lotus feet. So this is, even then she may not give up her pride very easily. He may have to suffer for some days, Krishna. So this is all highly elevated. This gives Krishna the greatest pleasure. When out of love, someone says to Krishna, get out from here. We don't want to see you. You go to your Chandravali. Don't come here. So this gives Krishna the greatest pleasure. And Radharani is the topmost of the left-wing gopis. She's the leader of there's a whole group of them. So to that, Srimati Radharani, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, he says, I offer myself in service to her lotus feet. Yakshanarda Krishna Viprayoga Santatodita Nakadainya Chapaladi Bhava Vrindamodita Yatna Labdha Krishna Sangha Nirgata Kilatika Mahatnyatma Pada Padma Dasya Dastu Radhika. Who, even for half a moment, if she is separated from Krishna, who becomes overwhelmed with extreme emotions, who enjoys such emotions, and who, to get Krishna back, sends her female messengers to arrange some meeting with Krishna. Krishna Sangha Bhashata Jashamashta Monapira Vinashta. Who by such no, she doesn't arrange. She's too proud for that. She's after all the controller of Krishna. But sometimes she cannot tolerate the separation of Krishna even for half a moment. So then her messengers, knowing her purpose, they are sent to arrange some meeting again with Krishna. So in this way, all her mental pain of separation from Krishna is destroyed. To that Srimati Radharani, I offer myself in service at her lotus feet. So these are 8 prayers. It's an ashtakam, but as with most ashtakams, there's another Falashruti at the end. It tells you what is the result of reading this. So let's find out. Ashtaken yastu nena noti Krishna vallabhang darshanepi shaila jadi yoshidali durlabhang Krishna sanga ninditatma dasya sidhu bhajanam tam karoti nanditali sanchayashu sajanam. That Srimati Radharani, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, her darshan, having vision of her, or being seen by her, is very difficult to attain, even by elevated women, elevated up to the standard of Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva. So to that Srimati Radharani, whoever says these prayers that we just recited, any person who does that, Shange Anandita Hoye She Vyakti Ke Shiga Shri Krishna Shangadara Anandita Nijya Dashamrita Pradan Karen. So Srimati Radharani is very pleased with such a person. Not only she is pleased, but all her Shakis, her female associates, are also pleased. And therefore, she quickly makes the arrangement that such a person can very quickly attain their position in the service of Krishna and enjoy the nectar of service to Krishna. So that is Sri Pratikashtikam of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. I should have read it before, and then would have been slow translating it. Anyway, there may be so many. Actually, we have our songbook, Songs of the Vaishnava Acharyas. But there are literally thousands of songs. Just a few have been selected. Yes. And actually, our Vaishnava Acharyas, some of them are very famous. Of course, Narottam Das, Bhakti Thakur, Lochan Das, we know them. But there are other very famous, just like Devaki Nandan Das, Jnana Das, Govinda Das. They are very great, Vasu Ghosh. They are great songwriters who have written many, many songs in praise of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And many, 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 they are describing the intimate leelas of Radha and Krishna. But in our songbook we just have a few songs which are teaching us what is the mood of devotion to Krishna, so that we can someday be eligible to understand what is the mood of the acharyas, what they have come to bring, what they have come to teach us. Is very, very elevated Jugala Piriti, the loving exchanges of Radha and Krishna. Alright, so if there's any questions you can ask. I'm not sure if I can answer them, because, like I say, it's a very exalted subject matter. We should take this opportunity on this day to think how fortunate we are that we've come from a very fallen background, but now we have the chance to even think of Srimati Radharani, who we're just reading, very difficult even for Parvati to get her darshan, and we can take our darshan here. Jai Srimati Radharani ki Jai. So any question, anyone wants to say anything? Like I said, I don't know if I can answer your question. What's said about Krishna book, devotees used to ask questions. You say, Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, you read, you ask questions. Krishna book, you read and enjoy. Don't ask questions. So you may ask a question, how is it that Putana, she became 12 miles long? You don't know, she just did, that's all. You understand or not understand, she did. How did Mother Yashoda see the whole universe within Krishna's mouth? And herself also inside? How is it possible? It goes against the laws of physics. That's true. Krishna is not under the laws of physics. So don't bring your big scientific textbook. This is untrue. We don't believe it. No, you don't believe it. Alright, you don't believe it. Then you don't read it. It's not for you. You read your science book. And we'll read Krishna book. That's all. We're distributing Krishna book, not science books. We're also distributing science books. Life comes from life. So you can understand that all your ideas are wrong. Your idea that you can understand everything by using your telescope and your microscope is wrong. You cannot understand. You can measure here to here is a little bit less than 1 meter. You cannot measure Krishna. No, anything to say? Alright, what's your question? Yes. Same pastime is repeated again and again. Maybe a little bit difference in the detail each time, but it's always blissful every time. Just like we are doing Arati, Gaur Arati, Jayo Jayo Gaura Chande Arati Ko Shobha. We're doing the same thing, but it's not that, oh, now it's boring, let's go this way. No difference. Same thing. It's every day more and more blissful. I love new flavors and rasas. Alright, so what time are you going to go for Hari now? 9:30, alright. Oh, so it's almost 9:30 now. Jai Srimati Radharani ki jai.